One high school allegedly has a new twist on the alphabet. According to the mom of a sophomore, West Springfield High School has a Women's History Month display called the ABCs to Me, where A no longer stands for apple. Now A is for abortion. H is for hope, with a photo of Kamala Harris. Q is for not quick or quiet, it's for queer. And of course, no woke alphabet is complete without a T for trans woman.
Okay, so that's funny for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it is a strange twist of fate that Laura Ingraham goes through her entire career, becomes this anchor that has this big audience and a nice studio and a big staff, and their rundown is packed with, we need to attack an individual display in a school. That's what we need to do. But of course, her job is to distract people from the damage being done by the Republican administration. So I sort of understand that. But also in doing it, she does it in the dumbest way possible. So she mentioned that it's a sophomore. So this is a high school thing. And it's a woman's history display. And she's like, what should A be? Well, I don't want it to be abortion because I don't think us dirty, grotesque, second-class citizen women should have control over our body. It should be apple. First of all, what does that have to do with women's history? Second of all, in high school, you think A should be for apple? You think Q should be for quick? They're teenagers. Jesus, how long has it been since you were in school? Or quiet, definitely women's history. You should be quiet. That one actually fits. But anyway, yeah, no, why should we expect that these teen girls, or even men too, learning about women's history should think about like the most important political topics affecting women or the different groups that make up women? Why should they be thinking, exercising their brains? No, it should be apple and banana and monkey. That should be it, because we want our students to be dumb, dumb, dumb. So they just go out in the world and don't question things, don't challenge the status quo, and they're good tools in the machine of capitalism. That's it. Except that wasn't it of the show. There's actually more. She brings in the mom of one of the students who took the picture, I guess. So take a look.
All they told us was this is a student-led history project that's part of an elective women's history class. So not teacher-driven. Was that a student who came up with that?
Oh, I can't imagine that a student came up with all of them. It was so ideologically one-sided that how could the students have come up with all of it? Like L is for leadership was another one of the letters, and the only leaders on there were Democratic females. They could have had there were so many different options. Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, they could have put that on their L for leadership, but they chose not to. And I think that that's probably coming from the teacher, and it's supported by the administration. The display is still standing there, and the school policy, as you mentioned, also supports it.
Okay, so I love that. First of all, Laura Ingraham hates the fact that there's an elective women's history class. Women do not deserve to have their history learned. That is very clear from Laura Ingraham. Also, the idea that like it's student-led bothers her. She doesn't like the idea that these teen students, I'm assuming that they might be women, but we don't know, they might be boys, would be given the freedom to choose what to put on there. How dare they? No, school is about propaganda. It's not about you learning and choosing things. And if you don't choose an exactly representative sample of Republican and Democratic women, that's not acceptable. What Laura Ingraham is calling for there is DEI for Republican women. They need to be included. I need representation on this high school display. How dare they choose for themselves what they are? But that said, Francesca, there were suggestions of which Republican women could be there. What did you think about those suggestions?
Tulsi's been a Republican for 3 weeks. I mean, that's good, solid. Yeah, Pam Bondi, why not? I mean, look, there's a number of things. I feel like the right, in their quest to say that they care about children, they care about students, they care, about, protecting them from harm. We know that they actually don't. They think kids should be seen and not heard. They think they're stupid. They don't believe that they could do any of this on their own. And they sure don't want to empower them. They would like to see them all working down at, a meat processing facility instead of going to school. I mean, they deeply disrespect children and their intellect. So that's number one. But number two is just like the idea that this is, John, a random high school in Virginia and the students who put up a sign on alphabet for Women's History Month is now being elevated to a national level. Like, say what you will about Chaya Raichik, but like, this is also a form of that sort of like putting a target on people's backs, on administrators' backs. When Laura Ingraham has this rando mom in the, coming in to studio, it's really disgusting and it's really scary. And there will be a backlash from teachers and their students, frankly.
Yeah, and we see this constantly. It's the Chaya Raichification of the right, and especially of Republican women, I guess, who feel like this is the role that they're supposed to play. You have Nancy Mace, who apparently on Twitter was mocking, I guess it was a trans teacher. That teacher's now getting death threats.
Jesus.
Obviously, because that's the point of all of this. That's what Nancy Mace's life is. That's what Laura Ingraham's life is. That's what Chaya Raichik's life is. It wasn't to create anything even as creative as this display in a school. It's to attack people. It is to direct the mob. It's to see them frothing in the mouth and say, go ruin that person's life. I'm never gonna think about them again. I'm moving on to my next target. You destroy them and I'm gonna go find someone else. And why? Why do all of this? Why mock the teacher on there? Why mock the display? Because the real work of the Republican Party, of the MAGA movement, is happening right now to get that budget passed, to get the tax cuts passed. And if the right, like regular conservative voters, think about that, if they were to know about that, they might be annoyed. They might be angry about all of that. So instead, you don't have time for it because you're angry at A is for abortion, L is for leadership. Screw the fact that they're gonna transfer trillions of dollars to Jeff Bezos, whatever, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Who has time to think about that? A trans teacher exists somewhere. And that must be stopped. That cannot be born. And so that's what it is amazing. Laura Ingraham is a grown ass adult, and this is what her life is. This is what her choices are.
But also, they don't even believe in Women's History Month, right? Isn't that in and of itself DEI? Shouldn't we be obliterating that from memory?
Well, women's contributions are being stripped out of the Department of Defense and everything. Like you can't acknowledge non-white, non-male contributions in anything. That is wrong. That is suspicious to do so.
Yeah. And as well, God, John, it's really terrifying what's happening. And I do think that as we see who they're targeting, let's remember that it was Chinese immigrants that gave us birthright citizenship to begin with, right? It was trans women who were leading the fight in Stonewall. I talked about this on my show, The Bituation Room, recently with an artist, Tourmaline, who has a book coming out about Marsha P. Marsha P. Johnson, who was like a leader in the fight for gay rights, a leader in the fight for recognition, to be able to be served in a bar, right? And these are trans women. These are people who are part of our history. And right now, the National Park Service is deleting Marsha P. Johnson's name from memory because we can't remember trans women did anything in this country of significance. So, we have to restore their memory, and we have to hold up the people who are being attacked right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that they are actually disputing or could dispute any of this history. It's that they just don't want you to know that the history exists. That's it. There are some facts, and they would really like their feelings to matter more. That's really all that's going on here. It's sad that if it was conservative students, would it be okay? Like if they had F is for forced birth, would they be allowed to do that? Would that be okay if it was a Gilead sort of display? Could they do that? Like S is for submission or something. Could they, if it was a Stepford Wives sort of thing, would that be allowed? What expression of women's history is acceptable at this point? These people are so sad. Their movement is so sad.